It's always exciting to get a new device, and I wanted to share some of my excitement at my new ruggedized smartphone. It's an Oukitel WP8.
My new Oukitel smartphone. It's a WP8 waterproof tough phone. Comes nicely packed in one of these typical Oukitel boxes. I've had an Oukitel phone before, my wife's got it now. It's got one of these SIM pins for getting into the recessed sockets for the SIMs. There's a little plastic cover here that covers the SIM tray, which is in there. I'm going to put a SIM in it later. I'm going to get the phone set up first. I have charged it up.
So what else do you get? Well, you get a charger plug, a UK charger plug. You get an OTG lead, so you can use your phone as a power bank to charge up other people's phones. There's no screen protector on the phone, which surprised me since it's a ruggedized phone, but I have bought some and I'll fit them fairly soon. The instructions are quite good, they're quite legible, so I'm just going to turn the phone on and go through the setup wizard and see how we get on.
Checking for updates at the moment. That's going to take a few minutes. So now the update check is completed, I've got to the copy apps and data bit. So click on the next button, back up from an Android phone, which is what I want to do this time. Right, so the my old phone finally came up with the response to set up the WP8, so now it's connecting. I need to verify that the shapes are correct on my old phone, which they are, and continue on my old device, press copy. I've just re-entered my PIN. I've edited out the actual re-entering of the PIN, of course, and now it's copying my account across, and that's all there is to it. When it's finally finished doing that, this phone should be ready to use, and most of the data from my old apps on this phone, will be transferred to my new phone. So there's the new choice of search. I'm obviously going to stick with Google. There's a normal business of tapping on the side several times to set up the fingerprint. So I've done it with my right thumb. I'm just going to think about whether or not I want to set up any other fingerprints, and you either press add another or next, depending on what you want to do.
So the camera on this phone's quite good. There's no telephoto and no wide angle, but the ordinary lens is pretty good. And what it does have, which a lot of phones don't have, is a macro lens, so you can take super close-up photos like this. I think I must have jogged the camera when I was taking this, but it is quite a good lens.
Now, it's a bit of a miserly sort of day today, but there we are, just a short video clip in case I haven't got one elsewhere. So, since this is a ruggedized camera, we should be able to do this with it.
Turn left on Winchester Road.
So here's just a little bit of a screen capture of it being used in sat-nav mode. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come out, because the screen capture was trying to capture it in portrait mode when of course it was actually in landscape. But anyway, it seemed to work quite well as a sat-nav.
I just wanted to do a quick flyby of this phone. On the left hand side here you have the smart button and the volume plus and minus buttons, and it looks like there's a speaker or something behind this grill. On the top here there is a little cover that you can flip off, and inside there is a 3mm jack for headphones, speakers, etc., and the cover's quite easy to push back in. Then coming down the right hand side there's another one of these little waterproof covers, and inside that's the SIM tray, and you need a special tool to get the SIM tray out because it's recessed. Here is the power button, here is the fingerprint sensor and another speaker grill. Now the fingerprint sensor, to be honest, these side fingerprint sensors are often not terribly good, and this is not the best one I've come across. It does work, but not all the time. So here is the cover for the charging socket, which is a micro B. A lot of modern phones have a C type, which is okay. except that C-type does tend to fall out quite easily, whereas the micro B locks much better. So I rate this using a micro B. That will be my preference. And here there is a little slot that you can attach a lanyard to. I'm not quite sure why that's on the bottom of the phone rather than the top, but there you are. There is a lanyard thing there, and you can obviously use that for a tether if you're using the phone in a boat or something and you don't want to drop it overboard, because although it's waterproof, it won't float. Now here's the screen. The screen's quite nice. It's in black and white mode at the moment because it does that at night automatically. You can turn the black and white at night off, but it's not bad. It's a bit more restful on the eyes. And there's the front camera there, and another thing up here. I guess that's another speaker grill for when you're using it as a phone. I'm not quite sure where the microphone is. It must be down the bottom here somewhere. And finally, on the back of the phone, you've got 3 cameras and a flash, and some things here that tell you it's ruggedized and so on. It's quite nicely styled. I like the look of it. Now the lenses are, I think, probably a monochrome depth lens, a macro lens, and a normal lens. And so all in all, it's really rather a nice phone, nicely styled. Oukitel are rightly proud of the stuff they make, and I'm very pleased with this particular one. I've not tried dropping it 4 feet onto concrete yet because I don't want to risk breaking it, but it is quite robust and will certainly withstand quite a lot of knocks and bumps.